What is going on, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. Let everybody work their ass into the show. Cheers to you. Oh, got it. Got it all off this morning. Good coffee spot here. Bird Rock Coffee out here. Pretty solid spot. All right, cheers to everybody. Cheers. Cheers. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their Friday. What people working on Monday? What's going on Monday? I'm off, by the way. Not working on Monday. I think I mentioned to you guys, maybe I mentioned it earlier during the week. No show coming up on Monday. All right? Leave me alone on Monday. But we got a solid show today. And actually a lot more topics than I thought. A lot more topics than I thought. Shout out to everybody as well. I appreciate you guys hanging out here as we're in the off season of the Lakers, but obviously still a lot of NBA stuff going on. So excited to do the show with everybody. I got a rundown here that I'm going to share with everybody. We'll have a guest. Sammy Long will be joining the show. He'll come on in about 15 minutes or so. Let me give everyone a quick rundown of the show. Again, cheers to you. Listen, today, Friday, before like a holiday weekend, it's going to be a little bit more of a chill show. Let's just say that. All right, Bobby Marks, top free agents, and he's actually putting money towards what he thinks is the right contract for them. LeBron's on that list. Reaves is on that list. Rui Hachimura is on that list. I'm sure there's more Lakers that are on that list, but those are the three that obviously stand out the most. Let's see what some of those projections look like. I think it's actually a very interesting article. A couple things going on yesterday. I didn't play one of the clips, and Trevor mentioned it. I had a different clip from the Mind the Game podcast with LeBron and Steve Nash. But the clip Trevor Lane was talking about yesterday about when LeBron's going to make his decision, yeah, that's obviously a big deal. The Lakers need LeBron. The sooner he can make a decision, the better that they could plan on everything. I got something from Brian Windhorst to kind of talk a little bit about that. We'll play that clip as well so you guys have an idea. I mentioned Sammy's going to join the show. Lakers front office, you know, a couple interesting pieces in the Lakers front office. I might have Eric kind of break some of that stuff down for us a little bit later, but just kind of the influence that the Dodgers executives are having and their impact. And I got this right as well. The Lakers front office offered assistant GM of the Timberwolves a role with the Los Angeles Lakers, like a legit role with the Lakers, and it sounds like he turned it down. So let's put it this way. Front office changes are coming. I mean, I think that part is apparent. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Giannis, I guess, apparently still in play with the Lakers, even though every time I see something on Giannis, two things happen when I see something with Giannis. Number one, I'm so sick of the story, but Shams was on Rich Eisen, and there is X amount of teams that I guess are involved in Giannis. Lakers are one of those teams. So you guys make with it of you'd like, whatever you'd like. And we'll break that down as well. NBA news. We'll talk a little bit about the playoff games. We'll talk about how the Cavs just nothing from Cleveland. It's my team. Bought a Cavs Nation jersey before that series started. What do I do with it now? Obviously, the Cleveland Cavaliers down 0-2 to the New York Knicks. And then tonight, are they back on tonight just to make sure? Is this all 1-1? I want to make sure that is anybody taking any time off? No, OKC San Antonio goes tonight. For selfish reasons, I love that game is tonight. Love that game's tonight. All right, that's what we got going on. That's the rundown for the show today. Let's take a look at a few of the comments, then we'll get the show started. Like I mentioned, Sammy will join us here in about 10 minutes or so. The playoffs are wild. Love it right now. Yeah, you know, there's a little bit of, for me, my kind of interest level is East and West. The East, I got a difficult time going out of my way to say, oh, I got to watch the Eastern Conference Finals. But when the West is on, I mean, I can't miss the Spurs and the Thunder. So far, by the way, there has been some good games, but you know what I'm talking about in regards to that. See another one here. Long time no see, Alan. How you doing? I'm good, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Shout out to you. By the way, we do have a if we can get LeBron for a good deal, pull it. We'll get into what Bobby Marks here and just said in a second. We do have a member show today. Member show is going to be pretty early today. Early in the sense of right when I'm done with this show, I'd say by 9:30 I'm going to do a member show. All right. So member show, if you're yet to be a member, please consider it's $3 a month. Great way to support the channel. And we shoot the you-know-what on the other side of this as well. All right, let's get the show started. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please subscribe to the channel as always. If you feel like there's somebody that you know that wants this content, please share the content with them as well. A great way to also grow the channel. All right, so Bobby Marks, let's see how we want to do this. Eric, is there a way to have this list up while we're talking about it? See if you can figure out that portion of it. So Bobby Marks, who's been on the show a couple different times, phenomenal, obviously a front office insider for ESPN. I got to work on Bob. I got to work on trying to get him back on the show. He did a piece here, and he lists the top 20 NBA free agents, their best fits, and what he would offer as far as a contract goes. So here's somebody that was in the front office, obviously, for a number of years, and he's breaking down kind of his projections. All right, here's what I would offer Norman Powell. Here's what I would offer CJ McCollum, Kelly Oubre, Tobias Harris. He's going down the list. But part of this list is LeBron, is Rui Hachimura, and is Austin Reaves. Now, there's some other players that have been tied to the Lakers as well. These are restricted free agents. We can, I could show you guys what kind of money he's talking about there as well. But I think this is a great way of just kind of indicating what it would cost or the ballpark that it would be at for some of these Laker players. This offseason, we all know it's obviously a key offseason, and the questions around LeBron, and I don't think there's any question about Austin Reaves. I think everybody knows he's coming back. The question is going to be how much, and then I guess as we kind of get a little bit further over the next year or so, the question is going to get louder and louder of like, hey, is this Austin Reaves? Does this thing fit with Luka? Is this how they should be doing it? I have my doubts. So we can get into that as well. But let's start with LeBron. So the LeBron piece to me is very, very interesting. Here's LeBron. By the way, Eric, that's perfect. So this is what Bobby Marks would offer LeBron in a deal. I'm going to read this just exactly, at least the way we have it broken down. LeBron's an unrestricted free agent. Bobby Marks would offer LeBron a 1-year, $30 million deal with a full no-trade clause. He says the best fits for LeBron: the Lakers, the Cavs, the Spurs, interesting, the Nuggets, and the Golden State Warriors. LeBron's cap hold next season is $59.3 million. Just to give you an example, Austin Reaves is $21 million. So there's a significant difference, obviously, between the two. His cap hold represents the placeholder of his previous contract, leaves on the Lakers' books until he resigns. That's going to be something I play here in a second in regards to Brian Windhorst. What do you guys think? 1-year, $30 million deal, but you keep LeBron around. And, obviously this probably, I'm going to assume, will be his last hurrah, his last tour with the Lakers. You like it? You think it's too much? You think it's, no, Lakers should move on? Do you think Lakers would be crazy not to bring back LeBron? If I'm being completely honest, it sounds kind of fair. 1 year, 30 for LeBron, right? It's not 50. It's not 20. Sounds kind of fair on the LeBron front. Now, I think the bigger question is this. The more you start bringing back all your players from last season and there aren't significant changes, the less faith I'll probably have in the Lakers really making noise in the Western Conference. Now, that's not on LeBron. I mean, if LeBron comes back, there's plenty of reasons why you would want LeBron back next season. But again, the more guys, if they basically brought back almost the same players as they had last year, does anybody think that would have a significant, impact on what the results would be next season? So that just kind of gives you an idea there. There's LeBron. Seems kind of fair to me. Like, if I'm being completely honest, that sounds like if LeBron comes back, He's taking less money. Lakers are also being respectful and, not saying, well, nobody else can offer you more than 15 unless it's the Nets in Chicago or something along those lines. I think Lakers are trying to show some good faith as well, knowing that they're going to need a handful of those dollars to go make some moves in other places. Okay, let's keep going down. Now we can, kind of slowly go down. You could see that there's some of these other players that are on this list. There's Norman Powell, CJ McCollum, I know, is on there. Kobe White is on there. Let's get all the way down to Rui Hachimura here real quick. All right. So here's Rui. Again, Bobby Marks, what he would offer to Rui Hachimura, and it would also say the best fits. He said he would offer Rui a 3-year, see if I got this right. Where is this one? Oh, I'm sorry. A 4-year, $64 million deal for Rui Hachimura. He says the best fits for Rui would be the Lakers, the Pistons, the Clippers, the Spurs, the Hornets, the Bulls, and the Nets. I think, if there's one player that probably made himself some money over the course of this postseason one, I thought Rui was incredible for the Lakers. Every time that dude shot, it was a legitimate threat for him to hit a three, a legitimate threat for him to score. Rui certainly made himself some money. This seems like a very reasonable, maybe 4 years. Can you find Eric real quick? Actually, let me look it up. I just want to know, what's Rui's age? Just want to see how old he'd be by the end of this contract. He's 28 years old. So, I mean, age ain't a problem. I mean, I think having him, a part of the Lakers here for a handful of years, I don't think anybody's really going to have an issue with this. I mean, some people will complain about Rui rebounding, things along those lines, but I thought he had a pretty good season this year. I thought he was a freaking stud in the playoffs. Everybody did. I still am trying to figure out. There's a lot of things that once the game is over, it's like I forget about. I'm still trying to figure out why the Lakers down 3 against the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 4 decided, let's have Rui Hachimura on the bench. That's like the last impression that I make of Rui Hachimura. Okay, so that shows you what Bobby Marks would offer Rui Hachimura. And let's go to the last one. I think the last one is the one that most people would be interested in, Austin Reaves. Austin Reaves. Okay. Here's what he would offer. 4 years, $155 million. So not the full 5 years. You're not giving him the 5 years, 241, but it's healthy. 4 years, 155. I'm going to do some math here because I know that the first year it would be, you kind of front load that first year. So here's what, and this is something that Trevor Lane and I were talking a little bit about yesterday. So Bobby Marks, here's what he would offer to Austin Reaves, a 4-year, $155 million deal. Now, because you have a cap hold in that first year, you try to front load as much money as you can in that first year, which he says he'd pay him $41 million, and then the rest of that money is paid out over the next 3 years. Let me do some math here. I feel like I'm a accounting expert. Let me just do this divided by 3. There you go. Okay, Eric's math was right. $38 million a year. $38 million a year after the first year. So you're paying him $41 million and then $38 million a year the rest of the contract. There's a couple advantages to this contract, and frankly, I think I think Bobby Marks is being incredibly fair here. There's a hey, you're going to make a ton of money in that first year, which is $41 million. Plus, by the way, you're making $38 million a year after that. But what the Lakers would ask him to do is instead of taking 5 years, take 4 years. That seems pretty reasonable, if I'm being honest with you. And I don't think that contract all of a sudden, if you gave that to Austin Reaves, I don't think that contract's going to be, everybody hates that contract. He's untradeable or anything like that. I mean, obviously age-wise, and he's a scorer. I think that you're still going to have value there. And for those that don't want to re-sign Austin Reaves, you don't have a choice. So it's truly not an option. Like, they have to re-sign Austin Reaves. They have to re-sign him because many reasons, but the most important reason is to keep that asset. So that's how they break it down. Austin Reaves here, 4-year, 155. I mentioned the Rui Hachimura, a 4-year, 64. And then the LeBron 1 year at $30 million. That's what Bobby Marks would do with these Laker players. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was good stuff right there from Bobby Marks, obviously breaking it down. All right, let me look at a couple of quick comments here, and then we are going to get Sammy in the mix here. LeBron said we lack talent. Who is he talking about? He's talking about. I don't even think he's talking about it. I'll tell you who I think he's talking about: the front office. He's not talking about a player. He's just kind of. And by the way, did he say anything wrong? He's being very honest. The Lakers did not have nearly the amount of talent they needed to go beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't think we can argue that. A SLE accounting master. I mean, when I get that calculator app on my phone, watch out. I'll do your taxes. On the side, I'll do your taxes. All right, so literally we get hamstrung again by 30 million and no trade. Get out of here. That would leave us under 20 million to work with. Basically, if this happens, organization is saying run it back. Slee changed his tune on Rui real quick. Well, go see what he did in the postseason. I mean, I don't think anybody's walking away from that postseason run thinking something different. Look, Rui had a stretch where he didn't box out for a year and a half, okay? Let me just I got to be honest too. All right, let's get Sammy in the mix here. We'll start talking money and dollars and everything else around the Lakers. Sammy?
Rui didn't box out for a year and a half.
Just, throw a body on somebody every once in a while,
It is funny how everyone hated Rui, and then everyone, because of one postseason run, now it's like, you can't lose Rui. You cannot lose Rui. It's the last thing you can do.
Well, okay. Prisoner of the moment. I agree with you. But Rui never, I think, bothered anybody. Like, I think there were times, let's use Ayton as an example. Ayton, there was a lot different emotions that would go towards him than would go towards Rui. I think Rui, just you're fine with him all season. You got some games where you're like, yeah, this is fine. Other times you're like, I don't know how much he can really impact, but during the playoffs, he was incredible during the playoffs.
I think when you weren't counting on Rui to be, and it's not even a shot, when you weren't counting on Rui to be a big-time scorer,
yep,
everyone liked Rui because he did have the ability to create his own shot. He could give some breaks for the stars where he could take the ball a few possessions, and just he could get you 12 points a game. He could get you something like that, and he had the ability to drop a 20-point game every now and then. But, yeah, I don't know if we're sitting here like Rui's going to be the third piece on the team. I don't know that I'm breaking the bank for that, because I think a lot of people will, who maybe didn't watch Rui every game with the Lakers, who just watched the postseason. You're going to have some bad team that's going to throw $1 gazillion at him.
That's a good point. I mean, let's put it this way. I mean, clearly, and I said this a little bit earlier, we're talking about LeBron dollars. And by the way, for those who don't know, and Sammy, even you jumping into this. So there was an article Bobby Marks had, and he's like, basically, he is projecting what he think would be the right offer for LeBron, for Austin Reaves. He goes the top 20 free agents, and that's why this came up from a dollar perspective. Did you see the dollar-wise for Rui?
I did not see the dollar-wise for Rui. What was it?
A 4-year deal for Rui Hachimura. How much do you think a 4-year deal? And I'm curious to get your thoughts, because I want to know if you think this is like too much or not enough or whatever the case is.
On a pure guess, I'm going to say, because of playoff performance, he's getting $20 million a year.
Okay, so
$80 million, 4 years.
Rui or Bobby Marks has him 4 years, 64, which that doesn't sound like a crazy deal or a bad deal.
No, I think that's a decent deal, because now when you're paying him, like, you got to expect some regression. You're probably not going to be shooting like that in the postseason again. But he did it over a whole year. And I do think, again, Rui can add value in terms of he can get his own shot. And especially if you're going to have so much turnover with the team, who knows if LeBron's back, who knows if Reaves back. There's, see if they'll buy out Ayton. Like, there's so much up in the air. Having, like, on paper, a guy like Rui, who's an athletic wing, who can play a little defense and get his own shot, that's ideally what you're looking for. But we also did see Rob Pelinka not pay Dorian Finney-Smith. Now, Dorian Finney-Smith was older, and I think Rui Hachimura is much better than him. But if you don't pay Rui, what's the plan? Because I feel like then you're going to be trying to go acquire players like him.
Here's what I would tell you. And I think why you bring back Rui Hachimura. You bring him back because he did have a really good. I mean, even before the postseason, like he finished the season really. He finished the season nice and strong. I think he has value. So I think in a year, again, and we'll kind of go back to the Austin Reaves thing. Even if you don't think Austin Reaves should be there long term, we'll have him and then decide, because he's your asset, whether you want him long term or not. I think Rui in a year, if he signed a 4-year, $64 million deal with the Lakers in a year, I don't think that's a bad contract. Like, I think that's an easy contract to get other teams to have interest in.
And to the point about Reaves and Rui, like Eric just hit us on the side, like it is a tradable contract. I mean, you're talking about like a play. If let's say you sign Rui and Reaves and didn't work, Rui would be, if he's hitting threes at a clip like this,
you got some good assets.
Every team in the league would be calling about Rui Hachimura.
Or how about this? Here's the teams who would call for him. I think a team that's like thinks they're in a good playoff run, maybe a little bit more of a vet team, like he can fit on the Minnesota Timberwolves or the. I'm just using as an example. Now, just like he could fit on a playoff team. Let's put it that way.
Right, and then in terms of the like Austin Reaves conversation, I mean, like I know there's so much there with how much do you pay him, and he didn't necessarily look the greatest in the postseason. But again, if you sign him, it doesn't work out. Not that you want to just sign bad contracts thinking you can trade him,
but you have to sign him. Yeah, you have to sign him.
And then if you literally, it's like, okay, Luka and Reaves does not work. They're getting abused on defense. Let's say we're halfway through the season. Same conversation over and over again. How many teams would want Austin Reaves, who maybe have elite defenders? Like, not that you would ever trade him to Boston. I'm just kind of spitballing. But a team that had like a Jaylen Brown and guys who played in elite level of branded defense, adding an Austin Reaves to that for just some offensive production, I'm sure they'd be shipping out a lot.
And I think there could be a team that's just like doesn't even really feel like they're going anywhere and needs somebody that they think will sell some tickets. I mean, Reaves, I think has some value. So his number for Reaves was 4 years, $155 million. So 4 years, 155. He gets paid 41 in that first year and then goes down from there. Okay, so we could take this a bunch of different ways. Let's play a clip here real quick. Eric, let's play that Windhorse clip on LeBron. I think the big question for LeBron right now is the decision piece and making a decision to give the Lakers some time. He was on his Mind the Game podcast. I'm going to just read this here on the Mind the Game podcast. He says something about he hasn't thought about the future all that much. He says how he won't make his decision until late June at the earliest, maybe even into July or August. Yeah, that ain't helpful to the Lakers. Take a listen to what Brian Windhorst said, if that is the case.
He could wait until September and announce he wants to play, and there would be teams beating down his door to sign him. But if he wants to sign with the Lakers for any significant amount of money, he's probably going to have to make up his mind by mid to late June, because that is what his cap hold is. And that means that number sits on the Lakers' books, even though he's not signed. It sits on the Lakers' books until something happens. What does that happen? Number one, he signs. Maybe he signs for $58 million. Maybe he signs for $28 million. Maybe he signs for $10 million. Or, and look, this is just reality. This is not, I don't think, meant to be insulting or anything. If the Lakers don't get a clear answer from LeBron by July 1st, they may have to renounce his rights and say, LeBron, we have to move on. We have to plan for next season. And then that money would just come off of their books. I would be stunned if that happened, but there is a little bit more of an urgency. And he doesn't have to, he can go on his vacation, whatever. But unless LeBron wants to sign for $3 million somewhere, which is what the NBA minimum is for a player with his experience level, he is going to have to probably come up with his mind sooner. He has made so much money in his career, he could sign for anything. But if the LeBron that I know wants to be respected, it's not even about the actual paycheck, it's about what the respect that the paycheck includes. And if he wants that respect, he probably will have to move up his timeline.
All right, that's Brian Windhorst right there. Yeah, I when I saw that, Trevor Lane mentioned it yesterday. He was on the show about guy might not make a decision until July, August, whatever the case is. Obviously that would they need clarity and they need a decision. What do you make when you hear Brian Windhorst break that down?
LeBron speaks out of both sides of his mouth. LeBron talks about how the talent
get him, Sammy.
How the talent is not there, which I agree with. the talent. They didn't have enough talent to beat Oklahoma City.
Mhm.
But then you're going to wait. Let's just say you played that out. You're going to wait because you want to draw this thing out. And then the Lakers, kind of like what Kawhi did to the Lakers and the Raptors when he was making his decision with the Clippers, was held up both of their free agencies because they were holding up that money. Because if LeBron was going to sign for a vet minimum, he just signed for a vet minimum. If he was like, I want to be in Los Angeles, he would sign for a vet minimum, and then he would let the Lakers really go build a roster that could compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I'm not even blaming LeBron for wanting to get his money. He wants to go somewhere and get his money. Good on LeBron. But don't spin it like, oh, the Lakers don't have enough talent, going to hold this up for a whole offseason while every other top free agent signs that can make a difference for the Lakers, and then come back and then be complaining about the same lack of holes on the roster.
Yeah, this is why I don't think I believe LeBron when he says July or August. I'm not 100% sure how it benefits anybody. So now it could be, is it, hey, I'm coming into year 24. Am I 1,000% sure that I want to come back for another year? How's my body feel? I don't think it's going to be that. I've heard nobody has said anything about the conversation. No more has nothing to do with, is he going to come back for his year 24? It's more, where's he going to play? So I think he is coming back. But I have a very difficult time thinking like, and this is maybe more on the Lakers front office than LeBron. And maybe this is more on, hey, here's our plan. Here's what we're thinking of doing. Here's our plan for you. We have nothing but respect for you and everything that you've done, but we want to show you all the different plans that we have here. And the sooner we can get your side done, the more we could try to put together the most competitive team next year. But I think a part of me has this thinking that this is more on the Lakers front office. And, obviously there's also the part of LeBron, what are you talking about? Like, why would you wait until July or August? And I'm not really sure how anybody benefits from that.
Right. And I mean, he knows where he's going. Like this whole, I got to think about it. Like, come on, you've been thinking about it. You've known this. Is coming
what do you mean? Where he's going in regards to where he's going to play?
Lakers? Is he going to the Cavs? Is he going to the Knicks? Is he going to be going to the Golden State Warriors?
I don't think he knows where he's going. I don't think you can know this early. I mean, I don't think there's been, let's just say hypothetically, Cavs are out and the Cleveland Cavaliers, I don't know, roll out the red carpet of like, here's why you should come here. All right, let me flip it another one. Let's say Giannis gets traded somewhere. I'm making up stuff, okay? And like now you have a little bit better idea of what the scope of the league is going to be. What if the Golden State Warriors came calling? I had Eric Pincus on the show about a week ago, and Eric Pincus kind of stunned me a little bit. He's like, I think he goes to the Warriors.
I watched that, yeah.
So I don't know if like he might have a hunch of, hey, this is 80%. I'm going back to the Lakers, but a lot of times you're going to kind of have to let every GM out there and anybody that gets in touch with Rich Paul and Clutch to kind of lay out what their vision is.
Like, I just have a hard time buying. Again, I don't fault LeBron for leaving. Like, I get it. If LeBron's like, you know what, been here for 8 years. I want to go back to Cleveland. I've always wanted to play at the Garden. I want to play with Curry. Like, that's even fine. Like, I'm not even crushing LeBron for that. But this whole like that, when I saw that from Windhorst about him potentially waiting, like, what does that do? Even to the teams that you're maybe going to go to. Like, let's say you go to the Cavs. Unless you're going to sign for a mid-level taxpayer exception, and you told them, you're holding them up too.
Yeah, because that time frame doesn't make sense. I don't think I fully understand what the advantages would be by doing that.
Like, just for, I don't know, to kind of draw this out all summer. I guess for a radio host, it's great because it allows topics. But I mean, you think if, again, and I agree with LeBron, the Lakers did not have enough talent to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder.
No brainer. Yep, that's a no brainer.
Like, I 100% agree with him. But if you're going to have enough talent to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, you are going to have to let the team know whether you're coming back, what money you're coming back with. And if it's not the Lakers, it's somewhere else. Like, that's totally fine. But this whole dragging this out, it doesn't help any team that he's possibly going to, and definitely doesn't help the Lakers if that's what. Because what if these teams wait for him and hold their mid-level taxpayer exception, then the teams that don't get him are screwed. Like they basically wasted an entire offseason in free agency.
Do you think most Laker fans want him back, or do you think most Laker fans are ready to move on?
I think most. I don't want to speak for all Laker fans, but Laker fans I know, I think people are. Thank you, LeBron, for the ring. Always appreciate you. I think it's time to get out of the LeBron business.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting because the more I would tell you based off of the maybe the vibe that I get, I think it leans a little bit more towards that way, which is a little surprising because I think during the postseason there was like this, especially during the Rocket series, you got to bring him back, this, that. Yeah, it'd be interesting what they do. I'd be more surprised that he's gone. I think he ends up with the Lakers for his ninth season.
I think that question also depends on if somehow you were like, all right, LeBron comes back on a minimum, I think any Laker fan would sign up for that. I think,
yeah, but I just don't think it's realistic. I'm with you. I just don't think it's realistic.
I'm with you as well. I don't think that's going to happen. A mid-level taxpayer exception, I think you're going to get split, but I think people would lean to, okay, your mid-level taxpayer exception, LeBron is still an elite level player, and we saw that in the postseason. But if this thing per reports and from what he's shown us his entire career, and he's 100% right to ask for the money because he's still playing an elite level, but if it's somewhere in the ballpark of 30 million, I don't know. I genuinely don't think that that's going to help the Lakers really put them in a position to win a title. And I feel like we keep dragging out this LeBron Luka timeline before you flip the keys over to Luka.
Yeah, I think right now, and this could have something to do with it, they could also say to themselves, whether this is the right strategy or not, but they could also say, there's nothing we can do to compete with Oklahoma City Thunder and San Antonio next season. So we might as well just bring LeBron back, try to make some changes, on the edges. We'd both be crazy to think that business doesn't have anything to do with some of these decisions.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll see how it plays out. I think, but I did want to play that because I think that time frame, I got a difficult time thinking that time frame is going to be, like I said, July or August or something along those lines. And it
doesn't really help LeBron too. Again, if he's trying to win, it doesn't help the team he's going to. I don't really get that.
And I've watched LeBron enough. I mean, the guy, he doesn't need attention. He doesn't want attention at all. So I don't think he would ever drag something like this.
No, never. Would never want to get a media narrative out there.
Would never say anything. It's but I will say that that's kind of if you told me this happened, I'm good with this based off of, and I've said it before, and it's not like this is, if you told me that LeBron left and Lakers went full Luka mode. Now, yes, Reaves is in that mix, but I think there's a lot of question marks about, do I think there's a guarantee that Austin Reaves is a Laker 3 years from now? No. Do I think there's a guarantee Luka's a Laker 3 years from now? Yes. Right. So I think based off of the big picture, but if you told me that, all right, LeBron went somewhere else, Lakers went younger, and they are, trying to sign whatever pieces that just bring down their overall age. And it's guys that are, again, they're not going to compete. They're not going to beat the San Antonio Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder, because I just don't think there's a path right now. I think that might take, a couple of years. But I think if you told me that that's the route that they take, yeah, I'm okay to, obviously start watching what that would look like.
I am too. And I think that the Lakers are like, when you look at every team in the West, it's not named the Spurs or the Thunder. I'm totally with you.
Can I just say this? I don't think that's going to happen, by the way. I do think that LeBron comes back for year 24.
If you go with a younger route, maybe there's less flashy names. Obviously, LeBron's, you talk about selling tickets. LeBron, massive name, going to sell a lot of tickets. But like what the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs, we're having guys like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort. Like these guys, Jared McCain are the MVPs of these series. Jared McCain might have been the reason that the Lakers got swept. I mean, if it wasn't for Jared McCain dropping in the teens off the bench, like the Lakers starters played pretty well against the Oklahoma City starters. It's just you have to have these fringe pieces that come through. And it's great having Luka, LeBron, and Reaves, and they can drop, 90 combined or 100 points combined on any given night. But at the same time, it's like you don't have the depth to beat these teams over a long series. And I would like to see them like try to go in that direction. And I think even if they kind of ended up in the same place, not that people are going to be okay with an early playoff exit, but if they're moving in the right direction with young talent, I think people are going to be much more okay with that versus just running your head into the brick wall every year with the same core group of guys. And it feels like we have the same conversation.
Yeah, and it's only going to get. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think it's only going to get. Like, we sit here saying it because they're the top two in the West. We say, oh, they're chasing the Thunder and OKC. But the reality is there's no guarantee they're better than Minnesota. There's no guarantee they're better than Denver. There's no guarantee they're better than a healthy Rockets team, even though I take the Lakers. But the point is that, like, with the Thunder and the Spurs, those just happen to be the two best teams, but there's other teams that are, at least at the minimum on par with the Lakers in the Western Conference.
I do think in terms of that, and this can be debated, I would put the Lakers in the leader of the pack of not the Thunder and the Spurs, just because I do think Luka, you have a generational player who's young. Now I know Anthony Edwards with Minnesota. I do think like the Rockets, I don't know how many times you keep running it back with Kevin Durant as the best player at his age. I'm with you. They get a point guard. They could be a handful.
Rockets, I don't think are a threat, period.
And Denver feels like they're kind of locked in. They were like a little bit of the Lakers a few years ago. They're kind of locked in with the core.
Can I just say this, Sammy? I would tell you that, but it's not like a clear they're number 3 in the West.
No. I'm with
you. Know what I mean? Like they could easily lose. I mean, if they played Minnesota in the first round, I think Minnesota. Well, I mean, obviously without Luka, then
without Luka, they would have got killed.
Yeah, that they would have got killed. But even healthy, like that ain't 100%. You're getting past Minnesota. Definitely not. All right, let's look at some other things here. Let's see some of the chat here. Sometimes I forget. The chat goes into their own world. They're in their own world, Sammy. Sometimes I don't want to interrupt them.
I love the chat. The chat likes some things I say. The chat doesn't like some things I say.
They're in their own world. Sometimes I want to just like leave them. I don't want to interrupt. It's like they got their own thing going on.
They make
Oklahoma City's payroll next year is $250. Not going to pick up Dort and Hartenstein's contract. Lakers need to go after them. It's interesting, by the way, those two players. By the way, either one of them, you got to love. It's so crazy. Think about those two players, Dort and Hartenstein. Those two guys are so far kind of down the list of all these players the Thunder have, but they're two key players, right?
Especially
like
Dort.
Maybe not every game. Maybe we're not talking about them each game, but if you're able to grab, we'll use Dort as an example. You don't think Lou Dort can have a great impact on the Lakers? And by the way, outside of
player they need, by the way,
big time. Outside of him even being on the court, being in the locker room, kind of like that champion pedigree, like it reminds me of, maybe it's not the best comp, but it's like you think of like every team's got like that championship team has that meta world peace, or like like that style of player. He definitely. Anyways, going off of this, definitely fits that.
That is an interesting question about like Dort and Hartenstein. Like, not that the Thunder and Spurs are going anywhere. They have a bunch of draft picks, but this is where, especially with the Thunder's case, they paid the big 3. This is where now Sam Presti's done an excellent job of doing this, but you are starting to see your Hartenstein's not going to be back. Your Lou Dort, it's like these fringe pieces won't be there as much. So you kind of see that through a, not dynasty. I'm not calling them a dynasty yet. But through the ways, like, it's one thing when you have all these guys on rookie contracts and it's unbelievable. Now you got to make the tough decisions. So that'll be interesting to watch with the Thunder and the Spurs specifically.
Here's what I would say, and I think both of these franchises. I'll use the Dort one as an example. They feel like they're 4 steps ahead of 95% of the rest of the NBA. So if you and I are talking about Dort, they're talking about Dort 2 years ago. So like what they do and how they address it. You're right. It's going to be a little bit tougher for them, but let's just say they're very, very creative. Okay. I want to go to an article here. There was, let's see what we got here. Eric, do we have audio of the Giannis thing? That was okay. So Shams was on the Rich Eisen show and talking about Giannis, and the Lakers are brought up kind of in the mix here. And we're gonna play that clip here. Giannis Antetokounmpo, brother, I would have thought this guy's been traded 11 times and has played for 14 different
It's
franchises.
getting a little exhausting.
What do you mean getting? It was a little exhausting a year ago. Much more than a little exhausting. So here's Shams on the Rich Eisen show. Let's hear him talk about some of the trade rumors, and he mentions the Lakers.
I don't necessarily think that the Giannis and LeBron situations are intertwined.
Okay.
You know, Giannis' situation has been playing out for now we're at 12
9
months.
years.
By the time, you know, assuming he is traded, and right now, Rich, this is where everything is at. The Milwaukee Bucks are officially open for business. They are engaging with teams. They're talking to teams. They're getting teams' best offers between now and the NBA draft, and they will make a decision. The biggest point that you need to know in all this, Rich, is Giannis, for a period of months, has made it clear to the Bucks, to the parties that need to know, that he is ready. He believes the time has come for both sides to part ways, to move on from each other. And what I've learned since Jimmy Haslam came out and said, listen, it's going to be either he's going to commit to an extension in June or we're going to trade him in June, is that nothing has changed about his stance. And so that would lead you to believe that the Bucks will then
does he mention
these offers, that they are officially open for business.
Let's go to the portion that just mentions. Is there a portion where he just mentions the trade? Okay. Let him.
And, you know, you're going to see teams like Miami, Minnesota, Boston. The Lakers will be, you know, the Lakers express interest in Giannis at the deadline. Right now, what they'll be able to offer is 3 first-round picks in cap space and essentially absorb Giannis's contract. Now, if you're the Bucks, are you just going to trade Giannis to the Lakers for cap space for 3 first-round picks? Like, my sense is they're going to get better in the marketplace than that. I think there's a bigger appetite than that. And so time will tell. We'll know in the next 6
We're good right
weeks,
there. Good right there. All right. So Lakers basically have they have, I think, like an in and out franchise to offer, and then also I don't know.
LA.
Yeah, they'll cover his taxes.
They'll
cover his the I don't know, his taxes for a couple. I have no idea what the Lakers are going to offer. I will say this. I'll play out a scenario for you, and let's just say it's not Giannis, but like a player of, and it doesn't have to be the caliber of Giannis. Do you try to say, all right, let's try to kind of build this thing, young players, this, that, like however that vision is, or do you try to speed up the process immediately and say, hey, I'll get rid of every asset that I have. I'll get rid of some, younger potential pieces. And let me go get another star and pair him up with Luka. Let's pretend it's not Giannis. Like, let's say we're getting towards the next trade deadline and there's another player that's available. I'm not Bam Adebayo. Like, I'm just obviously just kind of trying to find some comps here.
Someone on that level.
Which path do you want to take?
I mean, the league is showing us that you want to go young. Like, look at the team still in it right now. It's the Thunder, the Spurs, they have stars, but they have a collection of young talent. The Knicks, I think the Knicks are outside of Brunson. Cat is star, but I wouldn't put him on the level of a superstar. And you just have a bunch of guys like OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, who just play solid basketball, and it looks like they're going to be going to the finals. So, I would lean toward build the team younger. Now, Giannis is like, I go back and forth because part of me is like Giannis and Luka, literally who's stopping that? I mean, outside of an injury, I don't know how you guard that. That is a Wemby type like player combination with Luka's 3-point shooting ability to score, and Giannis rolling to the rim. But then it does feel like we're back in the same spot where, the Lakers, this is the first time in years since probably before the Anthony Davis trade, when you had Ingram and Lonzo and Kuzma and Hart, all these dudes, all these young players in availability, cap space availability. It's like, do you want to just go do the same thing trading all these young players, trading all these draft picks for one player. It feels like the league is going in a different direction. Move with that.
I will tell you this. The Laker way, right, is go trade for a player like that. The Laker way would be technically by the Laker way. And I got to be honest with you. I don't know how much I disagree with it, because here's what I would like to see, because Luka's on this team. I want to see another major player with Luka. And I think if you have another major player with Luka, you'll kind of figure everything else out. And I'm not telling you that this is the best long-term strategy, but the problem, I think, is I don't know what the long-term, like with Luka, how long are we talking here? Like that, the Spurs and the Thunder didn't just get good overnight. This is a 5-year, 6-year process. Like takes time. The Shea trade was how long ago? The drafting of, some of these young players, the trading for Caruso and Arsa, like it takes time to kind of build all that.
Now, the Lakers aren't starting from where they started from, though. I will say that.
You're 100% right. But let's just, again, the way the Thunder kind of build probably is always going to be different than the way the Lakers try to build. I don't have an answer for you, but what I will say is if there's a potential to put somebody next to Luka that's ready to be like a threat now, I think you do jump on that because it's the Lakers. Yeah. Like maybe if you're a different franchise, it's different, but I think Luka's probably saying, hey, do I really want to is it a 2-3 year process, or can I speed this up a little bit and go get another legit player? I don't think they're getting Giannis because I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have obviously enough. And every time that the Lakers are mentioned in that trade, I'm like, what are they going to offer?
Right. It's tough, especially with Giannis, because I think the other hesitant that no one's really talking about, and some of the chat saying it, he's had a lot of injuries. Like this is a 31-year-old player who has dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career. Giannis, when healthy, unreal.
I thought you said you were a poker player. Sometimes you just got to
define poker player, like at the table, not in Vegas. We were talking about this yesterday on the radio.
Lakers would be basically define the poker player. It's like, I'm all in. It's like,
yeah. Oh yeah, they're the guy that when they have a hand, they always bet. They go all in.
Yeah, like you got 10-9 suited. Relax.
Hey.
Why are you all in? Listen, the Giannis, obviously the Giannis conversation is always there. It's always going to be there. And I'm not, obviously too surprised by it or shocked by it, but that's obviously going to be there. All right. What am I missing here, Sammy? Of everything that we hit on, you got any questions my way or something from the chat?
I'm curious what you think about, like, we always are predetermined to like name a dynasty. I was kind of thinking about this yesterday. We named the Lakers in 2020. They thought they were going to go on a run. They didn't. The Bucks after that, they didn't go on a run. The Warriors again in 2022. The Nuggets, the Celtics, the Thunder, and now it's 1-1 against the Spurs, and then the Knicks look good. I'm not saying that they don't win. It is just funny. Like I think in the NBA, we sit here and look like, oh, it's the one sport where just a couple teams dominate year in and year out. We've seen the Dodgers be back-to-back champs. We've seen the Chiefs be back-to-back champs in the NFL and Major League Baseball. And like the NBA, it's funny how we always kind of go, this is the next dynasty, and for some reason it hasn't always worked out. Like I wonder if we did that with Oklahoma City a little too early.
Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, the problem with the word dynasty, you have to win a couple championships. You have to win 3 of 4 or 3, not even 3 of 4, 3 of 5, even 2 of 5 won't get it done. But like there has to be just sustained success. The reason why everyone's already labeling the Thunder is because your just assumption is they're going to be in the mix every year for the next. Right. I saw this thing from who put it out? Did you see this thing? The Thunder have 3 first-rounders, and they only have room for 1 roster spot. So they're looking to grab all 3 of their picks, trade to move up in the draft. I think they're like 12, and then a late, whatever it is, right? So it's just kind of funny that here, that's how the Thunder are operating. Lakers are offering like 3 picks because it's the only 3 picks that they have over the next X amount of years, first rounders. And here are the Thunder that are like, brother, we got so many. We got
those damn
so many,
Clippers, man. Those damn Clippers.
The Thunder are like, we got so many of these exotic cars in our driveway. We got to give a couple away because we have to make room for a different one. Yeah. So anyways, it just kind of, that's why I think the dynasty chat is in there, is because the Thunder just obviously have so much. All right, brother, I'm going to leave you alone. We got a long weekend coming up here. Thank you for coming on and sharing some of your thoughts.
Thank you, everybody. Great talking to everyone. Slee, great to see you. Talk to you later.
All right, Sammy, have a good weekend. All right, Sammy Long right there. All right, good stuff. Good stuff from Sammy right there. Yeah, it's funny, like there's always the allure with the Lakers. It's like, go get good right now. And they're always chasing that. Go get another star, go do this, go do that. You can argue against it as much as you want, but obviously it's had a tremendous amount of success for the Lakers. And it doesn't mean that it's going to have the same success now. The problem is just they're not getting, obviously, Giannis or anything like that. Brought to the Spurs, if they lose, they need a vet point forward. They need to get healthy. They need De'Aaron Fox. And I don't know what the latest is on Dylan Harper, but they would clearly need him as well. All right, keep putting in some of your comments. I'm going to try to get to some of these comments. Quick reminder as well, we do have a member show coming up at 9:30. We're going to do a member show today. I got to give a quick shout out here to one of our partners, one of our OGs, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. If you, a family member or friend, have been in a serious injury or an accident, please do me a favor and reach out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. They will help you. All these insurance companies know that they're the best in the business. They do everything they can for, obviously, their clients. And, what? I'll tell you something that's a real compliment to the channel. I had somebody reach out to me on Monday, and I hope nobody ever needs Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, but this individual, through another family member, they need Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. It's such a compliment when somebody, listens to the channel and the partnerships that we have and then say, hey, Al, this is the time that I could use your help. Send me a personal email. I put him in touch with Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm, and I'll let them obviously take it from there. I hope you never need him, but if you do, he can help anybody in the state of California. wallacewins.com/Sliwa, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Okay, there is one more main thing that I want to do on the Lakers front here, and we won't spend too much time on it, but we'll spend a little bit of time here. I'm going to have Eric join the show here for a quick second as well. And Eric, who produces the show, there was there's an article here in Yahoo talking about the Lakers front office and how the Dodgers, kind of their executives there, are starting to have more and more of an impact within the Lakers. So, Eric, let's get you on here and let's do kind of like a quick, brief breakdown there. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good here. Let's do kind of a quick, brief background of this article. Just kind of give us the cliff notes of it, of what's going on in the Lakers front office and how the Dodgers are technically, essentially involved in some way.
Yeah. So this article from Yahoo, from Yaron Weitzman, kind of laid out how Dodgers executives, Andrew Friedman, Farhan Zaidi, they've been pretty involved since Mark Walter took over the Lakers as owner. And like, there was some excerpts from the article, like, for instance, JJ Redick had mentioned to a friend that he was surprised when he was hired by the team at how lean the front office was.
Yep.
So that was a pretty big sticking point. You mentioned it earlier in the show where the Lakers had offered Minnesota Timberwolves assistant GM Steve Sr. They offered him a promotion. They offered him the role of executive vice president of basketball ops. So going from assistant GM to EVP of basketball ops, that's a pretty big jump. But Steve Sr. ends up turning the job down. And now I think there's two things to this. One, it's encouraging to see that the Lakers are starting to interview people for front office positions and trying to start building out. And
They got to bulk
expanding.
up. They got to bulk up that front office. Absolutely, no question
Giving
about
Rob
it.
Pelinka some help.
Well,
But-
and also this is the biggest advantage that new ownership can have is you could spend anything you want in the front office. We obviously don't have that flexibility with a roster, but listen, I'll tell you, and I don't need to tell you, I think people understand this. A front office is just as a good, competent front office is better than a great point guard. Like, I don't know better, but like there is almost equal value in that. I mean, it depends what kind of point guard we're talking about, but the point I'm saying is that obviously they got to bulk up in their front office. I think that's very interesting. Very, very interesting that they offered a position to one of the assistant GMs of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that's fascinating. I think that is a good sign.
And just kind of inside baseball, Minnesota's led by Tim Connolly.
Yep.
Tim Connolly built the Denver Nuggets and then left to go to Minnesota to build what they have in Minnesota now.
And built a team to try to beat Denver, which they did.
Right.
The problem is by the time you beat Denver, Oklahoma and San Antonio are already better than Denver. So now whatever you were building to beat the defending champs before, you're now trying to, obviously figure out with the other teams in the West.
Exactly. Now, the one thing that I think a lot of Lakers fans are kind of putting their own inferences and assumptions into it. Why did Steve Sr. turn down this position? Because going from assistant GM to senior to EVP of basketball ops, that's a big jump. That's jumping GM and going up to a higher position than the GM would be.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard in the past, and I don't think this is a secret across the league.
Where are you going with this?
Not a lot of people like Rob Pelinka.
Mm-hmm.
And so this goes back to his days as an agent. This goes back to how he's conducted himself as a member of the Lakers front office since joining in 2017. So I think there could be something to, do people around the league want to work for the Lakers and work under Rob Pelinka?
Yeah, so here's what I would say to that. Obviously, that's an assumption. I don't have the answer to it.
Yeah,
right.
No sources, complete assumption.
But here's what I will say. I will say that somebody's going to eventually take a high role in the front office for the Lakers, and maybe this guy, for whatever the reason was, did not want that position. Maybe it is a Pelinka thing. But I think, more importantly, I think the Lakers Pelinka's going to be there. At least it seems like for the near future. So what happens, obviously moving forward, but I think it's more the concept of we are now going out and targeting other teams that are having success, identifying people that we think could come in and help the front office. So I think that part is probably most important. I think that's perfect. I wanted to just kind of get a little bit of a breakdown there, and I think that gives us some good insight into that article. So I appreciate you doing it.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, that is it's Eric helping out there, produces the show in the background, and did a good job kind of breaking down that article. Okay, I'm going to spend the rest of the show just reading, obviously, a few of the comments here, and then I did mention 9:30 we're going to do a member show. Let's do comments, let's do a couple NBA stories, and then let's get the hell out of here so we could all enjoy a 3-day weekend. I do not have a show coming up on Monday. So if you want to be here on Monday at 8 a.m., you're more than happy to. I encourage you to. I just will not be here. The process takes a while indeed. If it were me, I'd prioritize a center or Giannis, then fill in the gaps the following summer. It won't be overnight if they're doing it right. It won't be overnight if they're doing it right. Was this guy dropping bars? What is that? This guy's rhyming on some of his chat here. Rob needs to leave. What do you mean he needs help? Well, he does need help because that front office is very, very thin. It doesn't have a, obviously it's not, they're not known front office wise as being this in-depth everything else. Okay, a couple quick NBA stories. Let's actually do this. Find the right thing here. Got our weekend preview, of course, presented by Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. WallaceWins.com/Sliwa. Okay, a couple stories around the NBA real quick. Knicks up on the Cavs 2-0. Knicks win last night 109-83. 9th straight win in the playoffs for the Knicks. Damn, I did not do that math. Yeah, since being down 2-1 to the Hawks, they have won. Is that right? They've won 9 straight. Who they play in the last round? Who they played? I forget who they played. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on here. Did they sweep last round too? All 5 Knicks starters in double figures, 4 to 5 Cavs starters. Donovan Mitchell, 28 points, 4 rebounds, not enough. This is what we got coming up for the weekend. So tonight, Thunder at the Spurs, game 4 or game 3, series tied at 1 apiece. Knicks at Cavs, game 3, 5 p.m. tomorrow. Knicks obviously up 2-0. And then Sunday, let's do it all over again. Thunder at Spurs, game 4, 5 p.m. on NBC. Peacock, and then Memorial Day Monday, there's another game. I got to be honest. Maybe I do like what's going on here with the schedule. That's phenomenal. That's there's no days off. Oh, yeah, they swept the Sixers 4-0. That's right. Winning 9 playoff games in a row is that's a run. All right, final couple of comments here. A few more here. How is Rob and Rambis interviewing people when they have no clue what they're doing? Yeah, when I read that was the piece too. I think when let me find that exact piece here on the Lakers front office. Position process is being led by Pelinka and Kurt Rambis, but Farhan Zaidi is involved as well. Rambis are still involved. They're still involved in everything. Jesus. You would kind of think there would be a time where that page is churned, but apparently not yet. Not yet. All right, everybody. That's all we got for today's show. Show definitely flew by. I appreciate everybody taking the time this week and joining the show. No show coming up on Monday. If you're a member, hang out at 9:30. We'll do a member show. If you're not a member, please consider it. If you look below in the bottom in the description, there's a join link, $3 a month. Great way to support the channel. Would love as many members as possible. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your rest of your Friday, your Saturday, your Sunday, your Monday. I'll see you back here on Tuesday at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody.